Today's video is advice for starting Dungeon Masters, complete noobs, alright? If this is your first time sitting on my side of the screen, and you have no idea what you're doing, don't panic, just pay attention. Step 1, pick an edition and an adventure to run. Don't write your own. I recommend 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, and I recommend The Lost Mines of Phandelver as your first adventure. It's basically the starter kit. It comes with a whole set of pre-made characters and everything. It's very simple, very standard, very easy to run Dungeons & Dragons experience that will really get you into the spirit of things. Dungeons & Dragons is a role-playing game, so you're going to need to be ready to play the game, and you're going to need to be ready to role-play. As the Dungeon Master, that means you're going to need NPCs. Okay, so you've got your edition, and you've got your adventure. Give it a look-see, see what NPCs there are in the adventure, pick the ones that are the most important, like the quest giver, or the person that needs rescuing, all of that stuff. Then also pick out any of the NPCs that really interest you as the DM. You need to know the following things. This isn't always going to be written down for you to know, so get ready to make some of this up. You're going to have to know why they are where they are, why they're doing what they're doing. Those two things will oftentimes be written for you in the module. If they're not, don't worry, just keep it simple. Don't go into huge, long backstories. Not yet. Remember, you're probably going to be running this one adventure, and maybe you'll expand into future adventures after that. Take your time, take it easy, trust me. You're going to want to figure out what mood they're in instead of what personality they're going to have. I know that sounds counterintuitive, just trust me. Again, personality is going to happen no matter what. Mood is the part where you're going to be able to make that NPC really spark and jump to life, so just pick what mood they start out in. Also, come up with one unique detail about how they look that none of your other NPCs will have. Remember that detail, because that's how your players are going to remember that stuff. They're not going to remember the dude's name. You should probably know his name, but remember, you decide how he looks and pick one detail. I have a lot of people ask me, what about voices and acting? Well, don't worry about that to start with. But if you are the type who wants to hit the ground running and go hardcore, pick a posture, a face, or a simple voice for each NPC that is very important. Practice those in the mirror. Write them down. Does he hunch over like this? Sometimes, like when I get a posture going, my voice just changes. Hunches over like, does he have a very simple French accent? The bottom line is, though, even if you aren't going to do posture or voices, you should at least consider the fact that you're going to be acting this NPC, and so you need to be ready to get into character. Write all that down ahead of time. The next big deal is the fight that's going to go down in your first session. You shouldn't need to prepare more than 2 fights, so look at the first 2 combats of your adventure. Take a look at the monsters, take a look at the battlefield. Ask yourself, how are the monsters going to react to the first round of combat? If it's an ambush, are they going to pincer movement or are they going to bum rush? Come up with a very basic strategy for what the monsters are going to do. Stick to that. Write that down. Take a note. Only worry about the monster's opening gambits. Everything else is going to go to hell the moment the player characters get involved anyways. As a note, be ready for when the players attempt to solve the problem without combat. You need to know why these monsters are a problem. And if the players circumvent that issue, that's fine. Go with it. Last step, tools and resources. I'm going to make a lot of enemies right here. Prep your visual assistances. Maps, grids, minis. I don't care if it's just a doodle on a whiteboard. Theater of the mind is great, but if you're running your very first combat, you want to have all that information in front of you at all times, because you're going to have all kinds of rules and dice and decisions and all kinds of stuff happening. Trust me, you're going to want that map. You can run Theater of the Mind combat later once you've figured out how to keep track of where everything is standing. You gotta have little X's and O's keeping track of this kobold and that kobold and their different HP and all that stuff. For each of these combats, you need to know what the lay of the land is going to be like. Where is the river? What about the bushes? Are the trees that those goblins jump out of going to matter? Where is the bridge? Where is the road? Where is the overturned cart? In addition to your map, however pretty or scribbly it's going to be, you will want to know the relevant stats for the monsters. You don't want to have to open up your book and figure out all the stats on the page as you're going along. So before you go into play, look those stats up. The important things you're going to need to know are saving throws, their hit points, and their armor class. You're also going to need to know what their bonus to attack is, how much damage they deal if they hit, how much damage they're going to deal if they crit, and what their initiative score is. You should also probably take note of any special powers the monster has in your own shorthand so that you can reference those rules really quickly if you need to. Finally, if you know what the monster's opening gambit is going to be, take note of any skills that are going to be relevant to that. For instance, if you know the monsters are going to ambush the players, then you're going to want to write down their stealth score. And there you have it. the NPCs for the role-playing. And then for the game, you're going to want to have your battle maps loosely scribbled out so that you know what's going on, and the most important stats for all those monsters, as well as a basic understanding of what those monsters' opening strategies in their fights is going to be. I'm Evil Squeegee, and I'll catch you guys later. Adios.
Legend tells tall tales, but telling is tantamount to treachery if these damned useless old books are to be any metric of the minds of historians. So cryptic, needlessly riddled with clues instead of actual information. Can't a single bard from the annals of time have spoken in anything but riddles, metaphor, and pointless scavenger hunts? Your king has charged you, a mighty warrior, with a collection of the Shards of Medea. A powerful stone, it had been shattered by the old gods thousands of years ago. From what you've managed to decipher, a shard of Medea lies in the tumultuous flowing waters of the Twitter Ocean, where legend has it that, at the bottom of its depraved depths, currents not formed of water but pure news, humor, and worse are to be found. Another find its eternal rest in the deep bowels of Twitch, an ancient kingdom of live gameplay broadcasts where audiences cheer and jeer, both reveling in and deciding the fate of many adventurers on a weekly basis. Yet still, further shards of Medea are said to be found in the state of disharmonious discord, trapped in a hive mind of nerds, gaming fans, and a community of horrifically minded entities known only as gamers. You'd think you'd just finished deciphering something about game list subscriptions? No idea what that's about, but it does seem to be laden with loot and treasure for those who are brave enough. And yes, who could forget? The final two shards of the Medea rest firmly in the grasp of ancient titans themselves, if they even exist. Like and subscribe. So many adventures to be had. What do you do?